Unpeeled, thanks to 3dprint.com. And today we're going to be talking about BLT, or Xeon Bright Laser Technologies. So BLT has released its half-year numbers, and the company has been making a lot of strides of late. We've seen BLT, but also companies such as Farsoon, H3D, and E+, really moving to having complete powder bed fusion metal printer lineups, right? Quad lasers, big laser machines, really big machines made for rocket engines and stuff like that, and everything in between. So the Chinese, as a society, as a country, are putting an awful lot of money in 3D printing, additive manufacturing, especially metal laser powder bed fusion. And yeah, this is one of the most interesting developments in our industry, because on the one hand, maybe this becomes a China only market with Chinese companies preferring Chinese machines, and very few other ones do. Now, I think for the really large machines that are meant for rocket engines, ballistic missiles, that kind of thing, definitely thinking that's going to be the case. Now, but what about these smaller machines, these smaller quad laser machines? Is that going to commoditize powder bed fusion? Is it just going to be accessible? Companies are going to be like, well, whatever, it's $100K cheaper, fine, we'll go for it. Or are people still going to really want high quality machines that maybe cost more, but will have more uptime, reliability, and track record? We don't know. So the first thing I think is pretty certain. The second thing, I have no idea really, to be very perfectly honest. So we're going to see. So that's why I think it's important to follow these companies. So BLT for the first half of the year made a $2.4 million profit. That's opposed to a $5 million loss the same half of the year last year. Revenues were 58% higher for $60 million US over the period. The company has a astounding, dizzying, eye-watering market cap of 2.5 billion on those revenues, which would be like around 100 million in revenues, a quite significant kind of market cap. And that's, saying that there's a lot of investors over there, or foreign investors over there, that are very bullish about it. And the company's really talking about space a lot of times in its press releases and things, just talking about Dongfang space, and that it helped make engine components for that company. It's talking making parts for Beijing Star Glory Space Technology Co. Again, helping them, right? So the BLT is saying that they help with some of the design and manufacturing aspects here. They also are exploring shoe molds, which I think, it seemed like a really esoteric kind of application when they came up with it, just like molds for shoe companies using powder bed fusion. It seemed like, is this really the future? Is this really that big of a market? But the company really seems to be very interested in that. They also are moving into making tungsten carbide parts, which of course is a really difficult to machine material that can be used for all sorts of really hard applications where really hard surfaces are of paramount importance. They also did some software updates and some improved powder handling, stuff like that, and released a bunch of new systems. So this company is really on the move. I think BLT really shows a lot of inertia, a lot of movement forward in this market. So that's really going to bring the competitive pressure on some established players. Now, is it going to move into the market? I don't know. I really think that in the periphery, like countries like Eastern Europe, Turkey, places like that, well, we may see some, machines like this make an entrance. But in a lot of applications, the divergence of the US-led and the China-led world is really going to lead to people to move away from Chinese systems in more sensitive areas, because they're afraid of IP being stolen, or they're afraid of some ban or some printer phoning home, if you will. And so that's kind of going to be a division there. Now, and whether these guys become the biggest players in the market or end up being China only, I honestly do not know. So I'd be curious to know your opinion down in the comments. Okay, so the next thing is from Holland Company. So Holland Company is a large polymer distributor. They went into 3D printing a couple of years ago, and they set up like a 3D printing unit that does more than just sell materials, but also kind of helps people kind of make materials and bring them into production. It is now selling that unit to Interfacial Consultants is part of NAGASE, which is a really giant Japanese conglomerate kind of holding company. Now, Interfacial itself makes substrates and just materials. It does compounding, it does custom materials. It actually sold a part of itself to Stratasys way back in 2014. And it itself was acquired in 2020 by NAGASE. It launched Empower 3D. Now, I love Empower 3D. I think every single materials company that wants to do something in this business, and every single other company needs to do something like this. So essentially, it can help you. It's a turnkey, walk in the door, know nothing, and walk out the door with a manufactured product type of solution. So you can come in there, you can get a custom material made. You can get them to compound a material and make a filament or make a powder or make a vat polymerization resin. They can help you design an object. They can help you with the settings of the machine. They can help you with consulting. And then they'll help you industrialize this thing. So it's a real force multiplier. You can be a company and not have to learn everything yourself. You can go to these guys and they will help you very, very quickly get up and running. So I love this. I think there's very few companies out there that do this. And I think everyone should. Because it really accelerates the adoption of additive. It really accelerates how quickly people can go from knowing nothing to manufacturing. And it accelerates just the growth of our market. So I think this is fantastic. And we're showing a little bit of a shakeout in the market where people who are very serious and quite big or have invested quite considerably in additive are moving forward, and other people that are maybe underweight, if you will, in the industry are basically leaving it. So this is another development like that. The next thing is, but is also, I think, really good news, actually. Tecnológico de Monterrey inaugurated the core lab for additive manufacturing. This is a part of the Institute of Advanced Materials for Sustainable Manufacturing at the Parque de Investigación and Innovación Tecnológica, the PIIT or something like that, PIIT. So core lab is a much needed thing. I mean, Mexico is a major manufacturer with nearshoring and friendshoring and things like that, and it's adjacent to the U.S. economy. It is experiencing kind of a manufacturing boom at the moment. And of course, it wants to go. It just doesn't want to be a place where things get assembled. It wants to go up in the technological world and make more advanced things. So for Mexico specifically, getting into additive makes a ton of sense. And the country has not done. There's one or two startups, I think, one in bioprinting, I think, and another one. But the country has not done a lot, either on research in 3D printing or government initiatives or just companies. So for a company like that, especially where Mexico is, it's next to the United States, but it has backward and poor areas. It's got a young workforce that is becoming increasingly well-trained and very, very foreign-oriented. And it just wants to really become, more of a manufacturer player, especially in the technological leading edge. So this is fantastic for them. I think it's really, really good. So they're doing this in an alliance with GE Additive, and it's going to be going around like things like tech transfer, industrialization, qualification of parts. They're going to help people with design and part analysis. And really the idea here is to not only just do research, but to really, really work with companies and other organizations and spreading the technology throughout Mexico. So I think it's a fantastic initiative. And I think it would be really, really good for the country if they do this really well. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. My name is Joris Peels, and this is another edition of 3D Printing News Unpeeled. Have a great day.